Our most gracious Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessings of life, for all that you give us in that. We thank you for friends and family that we can gather together and discuss and move forward. God, we ask that you be with us tonight as we discuss your business that's about us. But especially, Father God, that we have special prayer that your mercy and your grace be extended, Father, in mercies to Howard Shipley and his healing, and for Joe Huntsman, God, that your hand be on him and his family as they go through these times of healing. We thank you, God, for all that you do for us, but most of all, for the salvation that you provide. Thank you, Jesus. In his name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I want to open the February Hamilton County Legislative Body open. Recognition is Karen Newton. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to do roll call. Roll call?
In May of
Hold up, just 1 second. We're going to do roll call real quick.
Taylor, just hit it.
No, the green button. On your page.
12 present, 2 absent.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, no.
In May of 2019, in anticipation of celebrating Hamlin County's sesquicentennial, the Genealogical Society decided to publish a book about the history and families of the county. We sold pages to businesses, organizations, churches, and schools. This allowed families to submit their histories at little or no cost. Although many of the county's plans for the sesquicentennial were canceled because of the pandemic, our book committee of 7 people continued to work and plan. The result is this beautiful blue and gold book of 297 pages, 600 photos, and several hundred articles about life in Hamlin County. As one of the purchasers of a page in this book, we are very proud to present to the County Commission their copy of the book,
Thank you very much.
with some extra order forms in case anybody's interested.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Bob.
You wanna get-
I think I'm going to do
Yeah, they do. They got some.
Thank you.
Speech. Speech.
Y'all should have done fine.
Thank you. Okay, I call on Chairman Jim Stitt for the Calendar and Rules Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 3A, approval of consent calendar items. Put that in form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second. All in favor?
Fine, too.
Fine.
12 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Item 3B, before we get started to that, I'll call on Mr. E.C. Reed here, want to talk to us.
Thanks, sir. My name is E.C. Reed. I'm the chairman of the Hamilton County Election Commission. The purpose of me being here tonight is to just to let you know that at our last meeting, February the 17th, the Election Commission adopted a resolution requesting that we cease campaigning in the courthouse. Now, I'll give you some background information pertaining to that. One of our commissioners was contacted, and I guess someone was complaining about political paraphernalia being left in the courthouse and maybe people campaigning out of the courthouse offices. The word was given to me at the meeting, and so the commission wanted to do something because the pushback was coming back to the Election Commission. But the caveat is, I'm not certain that the Election Commission is responsible for activity in the courthouse except in the election area during early voting and during Election Day. So, you have a copy of that resolution?
Yes, sir.
That resolution states just exactly what I summed up there. So, what I am recommending to you is that the county commission refer this resolution to the county attorney for legal analysis, and then come back at the March meeting after it's reviewed by the county attorney and make a decision of whether or not you want to adopt, table, or whatever. It's your call, whatever you want to do with that resolution. I just simply wanted to bring it to your attention, and all of the election commissioners unanimously agreed that we do the resolution, and we all signed that resolution. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer those, but that's a summation of what that resolution is about. Yes, sir.
I've got a question. What you're saying, you can't have any campaign stuff in the courthouse?
What we're saying is we're recommending that you, the commission, get a legal opinion as to if that is legal, and if so, adopt this resolution.
I'd like to see it where you can't have campaign stuff at any county government building, the jail, the health department, the road department, solid waste department.
Well, that is something that you as a commissioner might want to consider through legal analysis.
Said that so other people could hear it.
You see, I've got a copy of that, and I'll make sure that our county attorney, I think he's there somewhere. Oh, he's hiding. I'll make sure he gets a copy, and we'll get a legal reading on that.
Okay,
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Item 3B, approval of regular calendar items with the addition of the 12B budget amendments. 10, Fund 101, Circuit Court at $17,595.25, and 11, Fund 101, Juvenile Court at $4,820. Chairman, I put that in form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Go ahead. Do you have any comments? Saying none?
Just 1 second, Slim.
Taylor. Good deal.
Yeah, yours did. Okay.
It didn't go through.
It's taking them longer.
There we go.
Item 3B, 12 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you. Approval of the consent calendar, I make you put that in form of a motion. Got a second? Any comments? Seeing none, take your vote.
Item 4A, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes. Okay, public comments regarding business on the agenda items only.
Gwen Holden, 8150 West Point Drive. Why were not the January county commission meetings videoed?
Why weren't they?
Yes, sir.
I don't have an answer for that, but I can get back with you on it. I don't know.
So that's why you need your backup cameras for stuff like that, okay? Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Chris Black, 7335 Eveline Circle in District 13. I want to, first of all, address item 12. Well, let's go back to item 3B that you guys just discussed with Mr. Reed from the Election Commission. Pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated, there's already a regulation on the books dealing with campaigning on state-owned property or lands, buildings, wherein there is a state agency located. Whereas the Hamlin County Courthouse is home to UT Extension. UT Extension is a de facto agency of the state of Tennessee. A regulation already exists. You guys shouldn't necessarily have to send it to legal, but I'm sure Mr. Capps can look at Tennessee Code Annotated and find that regulation. It was easy enough to do a search. It pulled up under Knox County Government with the Tennessee Code citation. Moving to item 12C, dealing with Paul LaBelle, and let me see how you guys have it written out here. 12C, renewal of real estate consulting agreement with LaBelle Commercial Realty. It was reported to me as a candidate for office just this past week that there are certain candidate signs on LaBelle Commercial Realty lands, local candidates. I won't name the candidate, but I think the candidate knows who he is. He's one of my opponents in the general election. Whereas these signs are on these lands, and whereas it does raise a question of impropriety in local government, I would like to know what the response from county government is, whether you guys are going to address that issue, and if you're not going to address it, I would ask for your consideration, and at least pushing this item to a future commission meeting, as it does raise that question of impropriety. These are the only items I have that are on the agenda, and I will see you for general public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Linda Noe, Joe Stevens Road. In regard to referring the Election Commission resolution to Mr. Capps, Mr. Capps was aware and has been aware of this issue for over a week. There was no response when I sent my complaint and concern through Mr. Gardner, who sent it to Mr. Britton. I then sent it to Mr. Capps, Mr. Sheriff Jarnigan, Howard Shipley, Mayor Britton, and Jeff Gardner, asking, is the entire courthouse open for political campaigning, political literature, campaign cards? I didn't receive a reply. Of course, I'm sure you will receive a reply. But it has to be examined very closely. Not all laws apply to every county in certain ways. You have laws about state facilities, but you also have laws and concerns about the public courthouse, particularly in view of the federal money that is flowing throughout this courthouse. That is probably one of the main things to be looked at. I would also like to address 12C, the LaBelle contract. In a quick look for commercial real estate agents in Hamlin County, I found 14, just like that. There may be more, maybe there are a few less. But every one of these 14, and the 14 includes LaBelle, should have an opportunity to submit a request for proposals or a request of qualifications and be considered for this real estate contract. If you want to be fair to the people of Hamlin County, the people of your district, to the taxpayers, every person who is qualified to be a real estate consultant should be allowed to participate in this. Of course, at the last committee meeting, there was this big, we're going to get this health department building. Whether you do or don't, that's fine. But that was used then as a crutch to say, and we need this real estate contract taken care of right now. We don't have time to do an RFQ. You certainly do. I talked to the ladies after the last meeting. They said there is no timeline that you've got to have your real estate agent. Of course, you don't even have to have a real estate consultant. But there is no crisis on requiring that you get a real estate agent. You can do an RFQ, and you should. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Edna Green, 4981 Cameron Road. I'd like to speak to 12C as well. Competition's good for the consumer. It's good for the taxpayer, especially us. That's our money you're throwing away. This needs to be bid. I do remember quickly what Mayor Britton said, but if you are in doubt, please take the time to ask some questions. I know some of you do, and thank you for the ones that do. Some of you don't, shame on you. But it needs to be bidded out so that every business in Hamlin County that is qualified can have the opportunity to bid on this. And I don't care if you don't save but $500. $500 is good for the citizens of Hamlin County. It may not affect some of you that are, shall I say, well off, but the everyday taxpayer fights to pay their taxes. And we've got enough sense to know at some point you're going to have to increase again if you just don't wake up and smell the coffee and do your job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will close public comment. And we will recess this body as a Hamilton County Legislative Body for an open hearing. Resolution 22-03 to amend zoning map of Hamilton County, Tennessee by rezoning District 2, Tax Map 024, Parcel 061.01 to 2801 Boatman Mountain Road, Morristown, Tennessee, from R1 to A1. Read my mind.
Good evening to the commissioners. As you may remember, this request is from Gary and Rachel Mitchell. They're asking to rezone their property at 2801 Boatman's Mountain Road from its existing designation of R1 to A1 in order to accommodate a very small antique store. The building has remained empty for years. It would not be spot zoning. It is contiguous with other A1 property across the road, and at the last Planning Commission, Hamlin County Planning Commission, the Planning Commissioners voted to send a positive request to you for approval for this submittal. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Seeing no questions? Do we have a motion? Oh, really? At this time, I'll close the Hamilton County Legislative Body. Now, I don't have a motion. Wayne E. Smith.
Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept this resolution to amend the zoning for this property on Boatman's Mountain Road.
Okay, you second that? All in favor?
Second.
Big vote.
Item 7A, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item 8. Jim Stepp.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 8A, Resolution 2204, Hamilton County 2070 time capsule. I put that in the form of a motion.
All in favor, vote.
Item
Yep.
8A, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 8B, surplus items at Register of Deeds Office. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second. We'll vote.
Item 8B, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 8C, Resolution 2205, a resolution before the County Commission of Hamilton County, Tennessee, to file an application for the 2022 home grant. I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Let's speak. Wayne Eastman.
What is this home grant? Refresh my memory.
That is the home repair program through THDA.
Thank you.
Take your vote.
Item 8C, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 8D, Resolution 2206, resolution of support for the city of Marshtown, Tennessee, applying for the Rebuilding American Infrastructure and Sustainability and Equality Raise Grant. I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, go ahead and vote. Bobby?
Item 8D, 10 yea, 2 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 8E, memorandum of agreement between Hamilton County Government and the Marshtown Emergency and Rescue Squad. I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Go to vote.
Item 8E, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
All I have, Chairman.
Thank you. The audit committee, Mr. Randy, Commissioner DeBoer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, we've got the audit committee vote, but before we do, I would like to commend all the people in the Hamilton County government for a job well done. We got a perfect score on this audit, and that is something to be proud of. So I think it's appropriate to thank our employees. Okay, 9A, acceptance of the Hamilton County government audit for fiscal year ending June 30th of 2021, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We got a second. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Item 9A, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Real Estate Committee, Chris Cutshaw.
Skip
10.
I missed one?
Budget Committee.
I'm sorry. Budget Committee, Randy DeBoer.
Thank you. 10A, this is the fiscal year 2020-23 preliminary budget plan of action, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. One vote.
Item 10A, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes. Now, the Real Estate Committee. Chris?
All right. Item 11A, request to sell Romar Street property. As discussed before, I make that in motion.
Have a motion, have a second, have a second. Do I have any discussion? Seeing none. Bobby, want to play?
Somebody's supposed to be voting for me.
Item 11A, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
She's gonna be sharper than that, buddy.
Item 12, Finance Committee. Chairman DeWard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 12A is the approval of the monthly checks, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? Saying none?
Item 12A, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B1, Hamlin County Board of Education Budget Amendment for increase of, it's mistakenly written in here as 149, but that is actually 143,902.32, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second? Any discussion? Yeah, that's just a typo at 140?
Yes. And if you look back in the packet, it'll show that.
No discussion? Go ahead. Vote.
Oh, here we go.
Item 12B1, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B2, Hamlin County Board of Education Budget Amendment for School Nutrition, an increase of 163,047.88, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none?
Item 12B2, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B3, Fund 101, Civil Defense EMA for $113.16, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a I got a second. Any discussion? Seeing none?
Can't remember to vote.
Item 12B3, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B4, Fund 101 for Civil Defense, for other public safety, and this is a Homeland Security grant of $1,169.10, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none?
Item 12B4, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B5, Fund 101, Chancery Court for $815. That's for office supplies, and I put it in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none?
Item 12B5, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B6, Fund 101, Juvenile Court for $20,000. That's for Richard Bean additional coverage, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none?
Item 12B6, 11 yeas, 0 nay, 1 abstain.
Motion passes.
Item 12B7, Fund 101 for Sheriff's Department for $3,400, and that is for the sale of the camper to be used in 2021. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none? Wayne?
Wayne.
Kirsten East?
Item 12B7, 12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B8, Fund 116 for garbage and sanitation for $33,000 additional dollars. Put that in the form of a motion.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? Seeing none?
12B8, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B9, Fund 122, Drug Control Fund for $41,375, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none?
Item 12B9, 12 yea, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B10, this is an additional in your packet, and it's for Tennessee CSI for servers, and I put that in the form of a motion.
This is off the board. This one will be off.
This one here will be off the board.
Okay.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, good.
Okay, Jeff Aker,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw. Randy DeBoer,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Tim Goins,
Aye.
Bobby Hahn,
Aye.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Eileen Arline,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Yes.
Jim Stepp,
Yes.
Taylor Ward.
Yes.
12 yeas, 0 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 12B11 for office supplies, and this really is actually software, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Got a motion, you got a
Second.
second? All,
Who was the second?
any
I'm
discussion?
sorry. Thank you.
Any discussion? This one, up-
Mr. Chairman, this is juvenile court, and I will be abstaining again, but since that didn't get brought up, I want to make that point
Okay.
clear.
this one also will be off the board.
Jeff Aker,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw. Aye. Randy DeBoer,
Yes.
Thomas Doty, you abstain.
Abstain.
Tim Goins,
Aye.
Bobby Hahn,
Aye.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Eileen Arline,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Yes.
Jim Stepp,
Yes.
Taylor Ward.
Yes.
12 yeas, 1 abstain, or 11 yeas, 1 abstain.
Motion passes.
Item 12C, and I would like for Mayor Bill Britton to speak to this one on the renewal of the real estate consulting agreement with LaBelle Commercial Realty.
Chairman, before we get to the item on the agenda, earlier this week, I had a visit from representatives of the Emergency Communication District, or E911, talking about the Health Department building and its possible availability if we pursue a new Health Department building. And so Robert Laney, the chairman of their board, and Eric Carpenter, the director of E911, are here to discuss their offer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 911 Center in Hamlin County came to the information that you have, that was brought to you, that the State Health Department desires to build a new health department for Hamlin County, and that using their federal monies from COVID relief, that they are willing to fund 75% of that as we understood it, with the county needing to fund 25% of that. The information that we had understood was that 25% from the county, based upon the type of building plan that they have, somewhere in a $4 to $4.5 million building that they're discussing, would mean that the county's 25% would be somewhere in the $1 million to $1.2 million range. Myself and our chairman approached the county mayor earlier this week with what we hope that this commission will see as a win-win-win scenario. Hamlin County Emergency Communications District, the 911 board meets in regular session in the morning at 8 o'clock. And the board members have asked me to come and say to you as the county commission today that the board would be prepared to offer and to entertain discussion with the county, this county court, that Hamlin County 911 would provide that 25% match to the county so that the health department building could be done a new building could be built for 0 tax dollars. What that would do then is we would ask that when the health department vacates its current location on West Main Street and goes into the new building, that that money would be given as a purchase for that property. Hamilton County 911 wishes to purchase the current health department location there at 331 West Main. What this would do is 3 things. Number 1, the county would be getting a new health department with 0 tax dollars. Number 2, Hamilton County 911, who is woefully out of space and have been for a considerable period of time, would be able to acquire a facility that would expand and do what 911 services for city and county and all of our emergency responders need for another 25 to 30 years easily from that location. Plus, when we leave the current facility that we're in, which is a portion of the Sheriff's Department's workhouse, then that area that we occupy currently in that county building would be available to you to repurpose however you do so. That's the win-win-win that we certainly hope that the county would consider. And I'll be glad to answer any questions regarding that offer.
Director, could you elaborate on 0 tax dollars?
Well, it would not require a tax increase, I guess, is what, in order for you to pass that along. Perhaps that money would come from your fund balance. If you did not do that, perhaps you may have another offer. Perhaps you want to do that a different way. But you would not be going into the county coffers for that 1 to 1.2 million. The fund balance that Hamilton County 911 has is a fund balance that we have been able to build over the 32 years of Hamilton County 911 being in existence, through the fiscal responsibility of the board over those years, and through the collection of the surcharge funding that 911 uses to operate. And so when I say 0 tax dollars, what I'm saying is that there would not be any reason for the county to have to go back to their funding, which is tax dollars, in order to make that happen. And then and we would be able, Hamilton County 911 would be able to sustain that purchase in its fund balance and still have the ability to maintain operation at its current level.
Okay, that was answering the question there, that you come from your fund balance and what you've collected, like you said, for over the past 32 years of existence.
That is correct. We would, the offer that we are making to supply this, your 25% match would come from Hamilton County 911's fund balance.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Director Carpenter.
Commissioner Doty.
Would E911 be coming to this body to request funds to renovate and/or move the emergency telecommunication services to the new building, or would they take care of that out of their own budget?
My intent, if the county were to accept this proposal, my intent would be to present to the 911 board that we would not only make this purchase out of our fund balance, but also renovate the health department that we would be acquiring to what we needed for that building, also out of Hamilton County 911 fund balance. So for that portion, it would not be my immediate recommendation to return to this body for that funding.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Neesmith.
Eric, I think you're located over here in the old Ed Sinkowski office.
No, sir, we're over on the Justice Center campus, but we're in a portion of the building that's attached to the workhouse.
That's to the workout.
Yes, sir.
Over down there.
Yeah.
All your office.
All of it, yes. Administration, dispatch operations, our technical services, all of our training division, quality assurance, everything that we do is in what is just under 2,100 square feet for 11 emergency service agencies, and we are woefully out of space.
You're, where you're located now, have you got enough work going on to fill up that old health department?
We believe that we do. Not only do we need the office space, we have no archival storage. We have no office space for our IT and technical services. We are always, and we thank the county for their participation in this, but we're always asking the county or the city or one of the other emergency service agencies for conference room or space to do employee testing, to do new hire testing, for our in-service training. That would give us a training area. It would give us office space. It would give us archival storage. It would give us the ability to expand dispatch operations in the future. It would have a little room for growth, but then we'd also be able to have the space that we need for IT technical networking for all of the new NG 911 components that the state is moving toward. We absolutely can make use of that full building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What happens to your fund balance? Depletes your fund balance?
It would not deplete the fund balance. What I will say to our board in the morning when we meet is that the fund balance is strong enough to be able to offer this amount of money for the 25% in order to purchase this building from the county and to renovate it and still have a fund balance that would meet a minimum standard that our local board set. I say that way, Mr. Chairman, because there is no guideline, no statute, no rule or law that we're aware of from the state ECB that requires us to maintain a specific level of fund balance. But our local board adopted a rule to do that, and we would be able to still meet that while purchasing and renovating the health department property.
Just get it clear in my mind. This is gonna cost, I thought the figure was about 1.4 million it's gonna take the county to match up. It's 25% of what the state has. I'll have to look back on it. So it's 1.2, 1.3. And what you would, let me ask you what you would do if the county votes to let you have that building. You would take out of your fund balance and give it back to the county commission. Well, we could go ahead and pay 25% to build one somewhere else.
That is correct, sir.
Director, or should I say Colonel, you look good in uniform. We're talking about a couple years down the road. Now, as you've seen here in the last year, I guess it is, how things jump in prices. Okay. What is your intent if, for some reason, 2 years down the road, it's going to be like $2 million?
Well, we would hope that once the agreement, it's my understanding, and the county mayor, I'm sure, could speak to this more clearly than I can. Obviously, this is in the infant stages of this. But as the state health department is using the money that they have to do this, they're going to have to get these agreements and these contracts in place to begin to make this happen so that they can spend that money within the guidelines of the federal grant that allows them to do so.
Correct.
And so we would hope that we would have a more firm figure sooner rather than later. And with that, should that fluctuate, certainly we would take that to the board, take a look and see how much fluctuation that is so that offer could still hopefully be there.
Yeah,
I can't speak for the 9 members of the 911 board other than to give this proposal today. I would have to take that back to them. I feel confident that they would entertain that discussion. But at that point in time, we would.
Right. I just don't want you to get a surprise like we did on the jail.
I would hope that surprise wouldn't be there, but I would take that back to the back to the 911 board.
Understand. Any other questions for Director Carpenter?
No? We thank the commission for their consideration.
Just a couple of things, just to clarify some questions. As far as the county share of a new health department, it would be capped. The match would be capped at $1,137,500. So if, let's say, 25% of the project is more than that, the state would pick that up. So the most that the county would be responsible for would be the 1,137,500. That.
Is our health department in bad shape too? It seems like this all of a sudden, it just popped up out of nowhere. They want to build a new health department.
Well, before COVID, the director, Sherry Montgomery, mentioned that they needed more space. She mentioned that to me. And then, so it wasn't a total surprise when the new regional director, Sue Judlin, contacted me and said that this opportunity is there. And she worked there during the interim before Ashley Lyons was hired as the county director. Sue worked there, and she identified the need for not necessarily more space. If you remember last week, she said we need 14,000 square feet, and that's what they have is 14,000 square feet, except that it's on 2 levels without an elevator, and it's just not efficient for their use and for their programming. And so she's the one who identified it and recommended that Hamlin County be one of 2 counties in her district to receive funding for now the building, Wayne building is in good shape. It's in good shape.
And then the state's got all this money they want to give away. They want to give us $4 million to build a health department when they took away $580,000 to do our only public pool in Hamlin County. Because we can't control what the state does, but you take away from one and give to the other. Next question, is there any way you could look at this old Lakeway Hospital up here and do that as a health department?
That could be an option to look at, yes.
I mean, they got all kinds of rooms, so they got elevators they need one.
And I mean, that would be something that I think we should evaluate. Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any more questions before we? Bill, you got anything else?
Just to address some of the statements that were made regarding the request to renew the LaBelle contract is now the message that I have from Ms. Judlin in the State Department of Health is they want Hamlin County to enter into a contract and to agree to enter into this offer with the state in April. And they want the county to sign a contract in April. And so the reason that I requested the renewal is so that we could have at least present in April, if not in March, probably in April, an idea or a concept of where the health department may go, or in what area of town. They mentioned last week and have mentioned to me in conversations that their clientele is basically in the core of Morristown. So they would want to stay in Morristown, not way out west or way out east. And so there's going to be a need for some assistance in finding a location. And so that's why I'm before you with this request, as well as the job that LaBelle Commercial Realty has done for the county. They've done a good job in previous dealings with them. So that's the purpose that this is before.
You did say commercial too, right? Commercial.
Yes.
Is it time, the big issue here?
It is. Yes. If now, Mike, let me say this. If you, as a commission, do not want an idea of where it would go, if you don't want the search for the site to start before April, then, we can delay it. But it depends on what you guys want to do. My thinking was that the commission would want an idea of where it would go and maybe a concept of where it would go before committing to the project.
Mayor, I think it's imperative that we keep it centrally located. It's always been here. That's my thinking. So in that, and Mr. Commissioner Neesmith's idea, Lakeway Regional Hospital being looked at, I think that would be valid. Just anything to keep us in town for that.
And while we have it offered to us, before something happens, they jerk it from us, I think we need to go ahead and pursue it and get it on the way.
Mayor, but can we sign the contract without having the proposal that basically we will sign a contract saying that we will provide our part?
Yes, yes.
To add to that question, though, if we don't know where it's going to be, I mean, it might, it's a win-win, these proposals we're hearing, but what if it's decided to go way west? I don't know that I could support that. I think it needs to say centrally, okay, I think it's imperative that we find this property as soon as possible before we accept this grant.
Now, the way it's been explained to me is this whole project, but the state's providing 75% of the dollars, okay? And then the match may come from 911, depending on what their board does and whether you accept it. Now, this project is a county project. It would be, we would manage it, you know, it would go through our procurement system, and the health department would want input into the design of the space, which makes total sense. So it would be a county project. So, you know, as far as location goes, you guys will make the decision of where it will go.
Whether we do that before April or after we get everything done, correct? We will
That's
still
correct. That's correct, yes.
So it's not a rush, okay.
What I heard, Thomas, from you, is that we can go ahead and sign the contract with the state, and then, as long as we're locked in with the state, then we can go out and find us a place to build.
Correct.
So at that time, we've got time to go out and send this thing out for, it wouldn't be for bids, but to get other real estate people in on the act, so we're not locked in with one real estate person. I mean, we bid on everything here. We bid on the Hale House. We bid it 2 or 3 times. We had one bid, we come back and we got 4 or 5 more. I think we need to get bids on this. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Okay. Item 12C, put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion? Have a second? Any more discussion? Done?
Item 12C, 7 yes, 5 no.
Yeah, I'm just not ready for it. No.
Motion passes. No, fails. Motion fails for that. That's right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
It is, all right, so I'm reading from this decision then, is it your all's wish that we go ahead and prepare an RFQ and issue an RFQ for real estate services? And it's your intention then to enter into the agreement, or you want me to wait?
No.
I'd like to make a motion.
I think we need to
At
go
this
into-
point, I'd make the motion that we enter in, begin the
second
RFQ
that.
process.
Second that.
And I'd like to amend that motion that we go ahead and enter into the contract with the state that we will supply 25%. And yes, we can do that prior to getting this RFQ.
But I disagree with that on one count, Thomas, that if it's decided to go on an extreme level, you know what I'm saying? I just don't know.
Well,
That's why I wanted to know.
The state has said that they would pay any overages. This is all we're.
I understand, but still, if you put it all the way on the west end of town or all the way on the east end of town.
We're not letting them give that. Mayor's already said, we make that decision after.
I got you, but if that's, if
Well, I'll
that's
just
all we
make
got.
another motion after
Okay,
yours goes through.
that's
then.
fine. I just making my point is I'm concerned about extreme.
Just restate your motion.
I make the motion that we allow the mayor to begin the RFQ process for real estate services in this matter.
Okay.
Or it's for the year, I guess, a year contract for any county services. Is that what the intention was, or do you just want it for this year?
Yeah, 2 years. Okay, I got a motion, got a second. Second. Randy DeBoer. This is off the board. This will be voted off the board.
Jeff Akers,
No.
Chris Cutshaw,
Yes?
Randy DeBoer,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Tim Goins,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Yes.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Eileen Arwine,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Got a question. This a bill to go out and do RFQs for a real estate person. That's what it's for.
Yes.
I vote for that, yes.
Jim Stepp,
Yes.
Taylor Ward.
Yes.
That's 11 yes, 1 no.
Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we give the county mayor the authorization and approve going forward with this and signing the contract with the state with the county's responsibility at a maximum of $1,137,500. And I put that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a
Second.
second? Randy DeBoer, Wayne.
Second.
Who's going to second?
Wayne.
One thought is, do you want any provision in that motion about the 911 offer? Or do we want to wait till March? Or are we committed to this project if the 911 offer is off the table?
With my motion, Mayor, we're committed with the 911 offer off the table or on the table because this is I hope that we can do this. I fully support the 911 system and I hope that they can gain access to this building. But even if that falls through, this is still a win for Hamlin County, in my opinion. And I make motion that we go forward with it.
Mayor, I'd like to add just one thing. I think also this is a win-win. Especially, I love the proposal from 911. I do. I think it's a win-win. I just think we're just a little bit premature in this decision. We have until April to go into contract with this. That's all. I'm not voting against it when it comes down to it. I just feel like we should delay it.
Okay. Yes, this is off the board.
Jeff Akers,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw,
No?
Randy DeBoer,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Tim Goins,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Yes.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Joe Huntsman, Eileen Arwine,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Yes.
Jim Stepp,
Yes.
Taylor Ward.
Yeah.
11 yeas, 1 nay.
Motion passes.
Just make sure that we had a second. Did we have a second on that motion?
Yes, we have multiples.
Yes, we did.
Mr. Mayor, do we have any idea what the value of the current health department is? Any idea?
No, the assessor's office has a value of $1,535,500 on it.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Board. Public comments. Non-agenda items.
Daniel Green, 4981 Cameron Road. Thank you, Mr. Neesmith, for asking the question. For you folks that were pushing for the realtor, I know one or two of you are realtors. I don't understand what the rush is. Please wake up and smell the coffee.
Any,
My question is, until Mr. Capps gives his opinion on the election commission resolution, is the county courthouse open for campaigning and candidate cards?
no. I would say no because my understanding, the state's already has a ruling on that. But we will double check. We will hold that till we get a legal opinion on that, a legal read on that.
Thank you, Mr. Goins.
Any,
Chris Black, once again, 7335 Evelyn Circle in the 13th District. Hopefully I can lend a little bit of clarification on what Ms. Holden was just asking about. So I'll start off with the election concerns that I have that I know that the commission can deal with. First of all, I'll start with campaign signage. As you guys know, I've counted at least 23 people on the ballot in this room tonight. As y'all know, campaign signs are incredibly expensive, right? Everybody knows that. However, there's trash all over this county from these campaign signs. It happens every election. It seems like this year is a little bit different, though. Obviously, the weather's not helped with that with the wind today and yesterday, but all over the Cedar Hill District, we've got campaign signs down in the roads with the stakes, popping tires, possibly all of that stuff. We have signs that are on utility poles in direct violation of Tennessee Code Annotated 2-19-144. Key examples are on Frank Hodge Road within the 13th District, in addition to Kidwell's Ridge, which may be in the Manley or Panther Creek districts. More than that, there are also signs for all candidates, including quite a few of you guys that are on this commission within the site triangles, which is against city ordinances. I'm not trying to gripe about it. Heck, after this primary with the Republicans, I'll have about 300 signs out myself. But we all need to do a little bit better job. I would ask that commission issue a statement to all candidates through a request to the Election Commission to comply with the Tennessee Code on the matter. We don't need this county junked up any more than it already is. As per campaigning here at the courthouse, I will give you the direct citation from Tennessee Code that I looked at. It is 2-19-206. The header is use of state-owned property for campaigning, advertising, or activities. It then goes down under subsection A to discuss any political division and or subdivision of the state of Tennessee, whereas in all of your bid and requisitions for the Justice Center, it clearly says at the top of each one of those, Hamblin County, Tennessee, a political subdivision of the state of Tennessee. It would seem that this section of Tennessee Code would apply. Something else that I would like to discuss is Mayor Britton's concerns and everyone else's concerns on the tax situation. I'm kind of miffed at you guys, to be honest with you. Back in October, I wrote every single one of you in an email asking for your position on the expenditures under the American Recovery Act. I got one response back from Mayor Britton. Thank goodness he wrote me back. Nonetheless, I asked about the potential of a tax increase because in the Citizen Tribune, it said that if there were any further expenditures, a tax increase would have to happen. However, in talking with many of you since then, you seem to think that it won't. Well, in Mayor Britton's own words in an email sent to me in October, he said during a presentation to this commission, he made it clear that financing for any additional project, again, any additional project will require
thank you, Chris. Your
additional
time's
revenue.
up. We appreciate it. Anybody else?
My name's Tony, and I'm here to talk about two things. I didn't speak earlier because I was a little flabbergasted about what happened outside. more in a better way than in a discouraging way. You all, the commissioners of Hamlin County, have given the sheriff's department control over the courthouse. The statute for Tennessee is 5-7-108. The sheriff's only powers at that courthouse is to stop intruders and trespassing. That's the only power they have other than to keep it clean, sanitary, and safe for the inmates. That's it. That's all their power has. So I've brought this up already, not to this board, but we're going to kind of paint with numbers here. If I can't take my camera into the common area of the courthouse, according to the Constitution of America, but I can bring it into this courthouse and I can record, regardless if court is in session or not. If I want to go into the tax office here, I can video record, because I have, without no issue. But I get harassed, I get assaulted at the Justice Center. Why? Because I exposed them. And I tried to turn in a complaint on Friday. I was assaulted by a deputy, and he was armed. I was surrounded. I was threatened with arrest. And then they let me go. They let me walk out of there. And cowardly today, as I walk in, I'm given a summons. I'm given a summons for being in there trying to give a complaint. And before you leave, Sheriff, I want to file a complaint with you. According to your own policy, I can file a complaint at any time with any law enforcement officer. And before you leave tonight, I would like to file a complaint with you. The next thing I would like to talk about, I only got 24 minutes. I'm going to make 24 seconds. I'm going to make this quick. The Sheriff's Department, the DA is aware of who has been bringing contraband into the jail. They have video evidence of it. They have evidence of those people dating people who are high up working in the jail. That is gone
Thank you. Your
under,
time's up. We
and the
appreciate
investigation has stopped until after the elections. Something needs to be looked onto that. That's a cover-up.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, can I
You sure
respond on
can,
record?
yes.
I'd like to respond on record that anybody can file a complaint with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. We have a form for that complaint. You must fill the form out completely. If you just put your first name on there and no address and insufficient amount, those spaces are there to fill out. So if you don't fill it out completely, it's not a complaint in our eyes. So, Tony, you can come over there anytime you want to and file a complaint with the form that we have, or the mayor's office.
Optional. On
The
top
mayor,
of it says
don't talk,
optional.
I'm trying to talk to you.
Well, you're giving bad advice. You're going against what your
That's all I
policy
have.
says.
Anybody else?
Linda Noe, Joe Stevens Road. I'm a little bit puzzled by your vote on the health department when the requirement is not needed. There's no vote needed until April. You voted to approve a contract that you haven't seen. Anybody remember the 10-day rule? You can't do that. So you might as well put this on your agenda for March and get the contract by the committee meetings in March so you and the public can see this deal. Two other items I have regard votes. Back in September of 2021 at a committee meeting, you voted to file a lawsuit against those, including myself, Edna Green, and several others who were wearing a piece of foam on their shirts or around their necks. I will not comment on the validity of that vote. Your attorney should address that with you. What I ask is, if that September 2021 vote was not valid and did not authorize a lawsuit, then you need to let all of the people who are wearing that piece of foam know that. Don't leave that hanging over us. Again, it's a matter of fairness and justice and doing the right thing. The other item is you took a vote in October of 2021 on a motion by Mr. Goins and a second by Mr. Stepp to, and I quote, seek a declaratory judgment, asking that the Hamlin County Sheriff's Department or a Hamlin County Constable be authorized to remove anyone from the commission meeting who refuses to obey the rules of the body. It is now 4 months later. Are you going to file with the court for a declaratory judgment or not? If so, when? If not, rescind it. Again, don't leave things hanging out there. I don't know if it's that your attorney is not doing it for whatever reason, but if you're not going to do it, man and woman up and say so. Thank you.
Ms. Noy, is there a deadline on that?
No. You can leave it hanging over us for a year if you want
Thank
to.
you, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Okay.
But in a decent world, if you're going to authorize a lawsuit, do it.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we will close the public comment section. Announcements. March committee meeting, Monday, March 14th, 5:30 right here in this courtroom. March commission meeting, Tuesday, March 24th, 5 o'clock right here in this courtroom. Any questions? Anybody got anything? Yes, Mayor.
You'll see in the next week or so, a public survey will appear on the county website and also on our Facebook page, and it's the similar survey that we did a year ago that we showed you the outcome of the survey during the budget process, and it's just to get public input on what they feel, how they feel about our services, which are the services most important to them, and which services would they like to see us invest more time and effort and money into. So that'll surface in the next week to 10 days, and just want to encourage you to participate and tell your friends and constituents about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We stand adjourned.